There's not a lot of cars at the fire station right now. Let's call this meeting to order. I think we should rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all. I do have to ask for resident comments or questions for anything not on the agenda. I'm following.
Why don't we approve the agenda?
I'll second.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
There's a motion and a second. Seconded by Hank. Motion was by Cindy Monroe. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now resident comments and questions. You guys aren't residents, you don't count. So then we're moving on to number 5, new business. Ms. Smith.
Mayor and Council, thank you.
What's so funny?
Glenn's
Why are you guys all laughing?
Tonight we are, this morning, wow.
Tonight?
Good morning. This morning, we are reviewing the final phase for Lakeview Industries. So tonight, this morning, it's the final plat. The developer's agreement was also in your packet, and then there's also a conditional use permit that we need to terminate. So where we are, what's that?
This morning.
This morning. Did I say it again?
Uh-huh.
Wow, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We were here last night.
We were here 12 hours ago.
So where we are in the process right now, we're through the concept plan, preliminary plat, and rezoning. The council reviewed preliminary plat and rezoning at the November 5th meeting, and a planning commission meeting was held last night, November 8th, to review the final plat. The final plat was recommended on a 5-0 vote by the planning commission. So now it's the city council's turn to take a look at the final plat, review the developer's agreement, and then we'll talk a little bit about that conditional use permit as well. Here is the updated rendering of the site that we have seen previously last Monday at the November 5th meeting, but just another look at it if anyone's watching at home. And site location, directly north of Fleet Farm, north of 212. The property was annexed in with the Fleet Farm project in 2011. If you'll recall, at the November 5th meeting, you approved rezoning the property from agriculture, which is the default zoning when any property is annexed, to industrial to allow for Lakeview to develop. A reminder, this morning we are just reviewing Block 1, Lot 1, which is the site that runs along Levi Griffin Road. So anything north of the red dotted line on the screen right now is not subject to approval tonight, this morning. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Don't be.
So anything that will develop north of that dotted red line will need to come forward again for preliminary plat and final plat approval. So it's just the first building along Levi Griffin Road that is to be considered today. This gives you a good idea of how the site lays out in a less technical planning document. So it shows the construction of the city-led project of Commerce Drive, which will give you site access into the Lakeview site. It also shows the 2 accesses of Levi Griffin Road, which will allow Levi Griffin to continue to operate as a collector road. Shows the proposed building, truck court, as well as parking features. So again, here's the technical planning document that we're approving. So it's just Block 1, Lot 1. Anything north, again, will need to come before the Planning Commission and City Council for preliminary plat and final plat. Updated rendering, so the top photo is if you were standing at the Fleet Farm site. Middle photo is if you're traveling west along Levi Griffin Road. So you'll see the corner has enhanced glass features, which will be the office location for the building. It'll also be the location for visitors to enter, so it gives more of a grand entrance as you're traveling down Levi Griffin Road. And the final photo is the rear of the building and the truck courts. So a little bit of detail about the conditional use permit that we are terminating tonight. So when the city constructed the water tower, the property...
This morning.
Did I say it again?
You know what, let's just go with it tonight.
Okay,
Old
sorry.
habit.
It's evening somewhere.
That's true. All right. So when the city constructed the water tower, the property was in township, so Carver County had land use control. So we needed a conditional use permit to allow us to construct that water tower. Since the property has been annexed into the city, we're able to terminate that conditional use permit because we have land use control. So right now, there's a conditional use permit out there that we're both the permittee and the permitter. So it's essentially a cleanup item to get rid of that conditional use permit since we have land use control over the property. At this point, I'll open it up for questions. I'm happy to discuss anything about the final plat and conditional use permit, and I might deflect to Larry if you have specific developers agreement questions.
Does anybody have any questions tonight?
This afternoon, I have a question.
Madam,
It's a kind of just a technical, when you say that we're going to terminate the CUP, does that mean that the water tower meets all of our land use, city land use? That, it's fine.
Yes. Once the property was annexed and came into the corporate limits of the city, the CUP kind of became irrelevant. The city's zoning code has a provision for effectively essential municipal services like water towers that say it's not subject to the zoning ordinance. When the original conditional use permit was granted in 2007, it covered all of that big parcel. That's why the developer fairly wants it removed. It's plowed on their title. I mean, we could have, I suppose, conceptually just carved their parcel out, but we as the city don't need the CUP. It's just cleaner to get rid of it. So it's a relative, it was a simple decision to terminate. In terms of terminations, within the developer's agreement, there's also a release of the developer's property from the Mills developer PRD agreement, because that was incorporated in it. So that is built into the developer's agreement. Two other key things you should know in the developer's agreement, because the developer's agreement has the mutual obligations in it. So the developer's agreement obligates the city to do what are called the Lakeview Industries infrastructure improvements. Effectively, the city has to build Commerce Drive, not a surprise to the council. That's the purpose of the TIF and the deed grant, but you have to do it, and the city has to have it done by the end of next year. There's also an agreement that you aren't used to seeing in a developer's agreement where the city waives the right to assess Lakeview for those improvements, and it's a 20-year waiver. I do need to point one thing out to the council, is the council's probably aware, there's some moving targets in the couple of days coming up to here. There's a significant typo in the developer's agreement that I need to point out that I'm going to correct. There is an access road that is being built on the far westerly portion of the property. There's a separate easement that Lakeview is given. The easement clearly requires Lakeview to build the access road. The city is responsible for the utility agreements. In section 4.16 of the developer's agreement, in separate sentences, it obligates both the city and the developer to build the access road. That's actually the developer's obligation. I'm going to strike the words roadway out of that in the version that comes back, and I would ask that when the council approves it, they do so with that understanding. And any other questions on the DA, glad to answer.
Thank you. I'll digest that this afternoon.
Thank you for that tonight. Anyone else have any comments or questions? I would entertain a motion with our city attorney's esteemed and amazing comments.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 162-18, approving the final plat for development of Lakeville Industries per the changes that our city attorney made.
I'll second.
There's a motion by Councilmember Henry, seconded by Councilmember Mock. We'll open it up for comments or questions. Larry, does that motion suffice for the language that you need on that motion?
It does.
Thank you. So any other comments, questions?
Just think this is really exciting. I like the look of the building.
Not yet.
Comments. You
No,
said
no,
comments.
I know, but we can't compliment them yet.
Oh,
I've been
Mike's been trying for a whole
I've been
meeting.
trying for you.
Unfettered.
okay.
All right. Any other comments or questions?
There's another resolution related
I know.
to this. Okay.
I know. That's what I'm waiting. All right. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 163-18, terminating the CUP number PZ 2007002 issued by Carver County on August 7th, 2007.
I'll second.
There's a motion by Councilmember Johnson, seconded by Councilmember Monroe. We'll open it up for questions or comments. This evening. All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. As I assume, I did not hear any nays, so right on. Welcome aboard. Nobody's
Yes,
more
welcome.
excited than we are. You guys start breaking some ground. That's all I got. I've been waiting a week to say that. Are you guys as excited as we are? You're not, I mean, it's this evening?
They were here last night, so they're.
Yeah, that's true. You guys are sick of this place. Right on. Get after it. So any other communications at this point? Mr. Merrick? Mr. Harris, thank you for your help on this. Brenda, thank you for being here. And also a huge thank you for being an election judge the other day. You guys worked your tails off and were there for, I think you were there for 12, you were there for more than 12 hours. You were there for like 18 because you stayed the whole night, didn't you? You and Vicky. Vicky Sanzaiden was there forever too. That is tremendous, and you guys don't get enough thanks. So thank you for that. Anyone else?
Yeah. Yeah, we should mention the Lions brunch this
Breakfast.
Sunday.
Yep.
Out at Sticks. I have tickets if anybody needs to buy them.
What I just heard was I have tickets because I need to sell them.
That is true, too.
It's a great breakfast, and
Yeah, it
again,
is.
veterans are free.
Yeah. I mean, personalized omelets, come on. $11. If you're under 5, it's free. 5 and under. Yes, Larry, you almost qualify.
If you say 5 feet, I will not be happy.
I wasn't even thinking that,
Yeah,
but I'm
well,
glad somebody mentioned it.
Yeah, glad that precedes you.
So it's out at Sticks at Dahlgreen Golf Course from 9 to 1.
All right. Anyone else? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Call this meeting. Thank you all.